Alright, there we go. So we're gonna play a new game of Crimson Memories. Just wait. If you thought the translation on the other game was bad, oh, wait until you see this. Alright, so we're gonna start the game. It's too hot. Too hot. Waves after waves of the scorching heat continued to hit Terra. Mother, father, where are you now? All surrounded are the continuously burning ruins, and the flames become fiercer, accompanied by the billowing, rising smoke that made it unclear to distinguish the direction. Terra coughed unceasingly, slowly sitting down weak and limp. She very nervously held tight in her arms the bear toy which she loved from childhood. Just at that time, a charred roof fell down towards Terra's, I think that's how you say her name, direction. Please don't. Ah! Is it Terria? I think. Terria finally woke up, sitting up with a jerk. She slowly looked around the surrounding whilst breathing heavily. This is my room. Loosening her clenched fist, she saw that it was all oozed sweat in her palm. God, this is hard. There was so much sweat. I dreamed about that day again. That was something 14 years ago. No, it just passed 14 years. It would be better to describe it in this way. Terria stretched out her hand and touched the scar on her back. Upon experiencing that horrible case, the deep scar remained, although the fire burn was cured. What had happened that day still left unutterable trauma to Terria's body and mind till today. That was a time when she was just 6 years old. A fire suddenly broke out at home. Afterwards, she was told by a newspaper reporter that her parents had passed away because of that fire. At that time, Terria didn't understand what it meant. Yes, at such an early age, she couldn't understand what the meaning of death was. Diarrhea. That would be better. So when that middle-aged reporting man said to her, "You can't see them anymore," she finally got to know what happened and cried out loud. Wait a second. Her parents died in a fire and a reporter fucking told her? She cried and cried, with the sorrow all through. And then a madam that she never met before came to her and said, "Come to my home." Then she treated the penniless Terria like a family member and raised her up. To Auntie Cresta, Terria couldn't repay the kindness whatever she did. I should now work hard, even just for the sake of repaying her kindness. She looked up at the clock, and the short hand had already pointed to 7 o'clock. It's already at this point. I should be hurried for work. If I hadn't hurried up and got ready, Terria jumped out of bed in a flurried pace whilst thinking about this. I feel like reading this is like reading Shakespeare out loud, where it actually is more understandable when you hear it than when you just read it. It's too late. The store manager nagged at her even though Terria arrived at the store 30 minutes earlier than the required schedule. This store manager was a very erratic person, although having been blamed by him before. You should appear earlier since you're still in your probation period. She arrived like how he nagged yesterday. At the store, the result was the same. If she had arrived earlier, the manager would have started nagging like, "It should be 1 hour earlier." Such type of more and more excessive requirement. Damn it, why didn't you just tell me to be 1 hour earlier at the beginning? Having a fit of anger, Terria nearly followed the impulse to hit the manager. Wait, Terria, don't be impetuous, just calm down. Try to recall why you were dismissed in the place where you worked before. Terria suddenly remembered something happened 2 weeks ago. Even at present, I still feel very angry. I was carefully doing the cleaning work at that time, when suddenly that house's owner started to touch my hip. What? And then I couldn't suppress my anger and gave him an uppercut, beating him down to the ground. Although I felt very relaxed after hearing that I was laid off several hours later, I still reflecting upon myself that next time I would never behave in such an impulsive manner in a working scenario. I don't know what this shit is. This time I should be careful not to do the same thing. Hey, are you listening to me? I don't have to make such a loud voice to make me hear you. Wait, that didn't make sense. Forcibly suppressing my discontent mood, I said to him in all smiles, okay, I will be more careful, to respond his rage. Oh, this shit is bad. The manager seemed to be very satisfied with the answer. He groaned, turned around, and then walked back behind the bar counter. I suddenly looked up at the azure sky and found there was a thin layer of cloud. It is such a good weather. Upon stretching myself at full tilt and after a deep breath, I saw a guest with poor dress come into the store. As usual, Teria made a glass of ice water to the guest and then gave him the menu. That doesn't look like a glass of ice water. After that, the manager suddenly rushed over and grabbed the menu from the guest's hands. Manager, why do you take it back? We don't have dishes for men in tatters. That's mean. We should treat all the customers equally. Look at him. I am sure he has no money. Hearing the conversation, the seated customer suddenly said, "But I have." Then he put a few bundles of money in front of the manager. How can he be our customer? Look at his rags. I can smell out the dirty jobs he did for the money. Teria finally couldn't stand the manager who insisted to his self-concept anymore. This jerk, you know nothing at all. She just fucking smacked him. Something just occurred in her mind. At the very moment, Teria swung her elbow right at manager, striking her boss. Although manager is a big guy, still he fell down and rolled to the other side. No sooner had manager understood what happened than he rose up and roared at Teria with fire of anger. You beat me! You are fired! As my wish. Teria did not make any concession. Having said what was due to a sudden impulse, Teria suddenly realized something. Oops, I messed up again. How could things turn up like this? I have been careful so far. I guess that's the end of the chapter. Yes, this is very horrible, but this isn't even the worst of it. Room full of memories. Alright. Teria walked her way home slowly in a low spirit. Suddenly, someone from the back covered her mouth and caught her by the arm. Who? Don't turn around. You should not see me. Teria felt something sharp pressing her in the back. A robber? Feeling the danger, Teria was in cold sweat. Oh, shit. Okay. Teria was taken to some unknown palace, blindfolded. After her eyes were uncovered, she saw a mega building in the big open ground. Teria fixed her eyes on the building in a shock. Where there are even parking spaces for carriages. There is no doubt that people as noble as the Count live in this building. After arrival... I'm sorry, this shit's so stupid. After arrival, the man relaxed his hands a little bit, with which he had been holding the girl along the way. Catching the chance, Teria turned around and tried to catch the man by his arm. I didn't think you had balls. He just... Okay, I didn't think you had balls. Hold on a second. Even under this, the man did not seem to waver. A man with brown hair and dark brown eyes was not rare in this country. But this man left people with a special impression. The cause must be his attitude of cynicism and his bulky muscles. It must be. Tyria stared angrily at the man who was shouting with laughter, with the belly in his arms. After Tyria's eyesight moved to his hand, she found it was a pen that the man was holding instead of a dagger. Oh, fuck. What if there were a dagger in my hand? What would happen, do you think? Must be a danger, huh? When I understood that your purpose is only taking me to some place, I knew you would not hurt me. It seems you are a smart little girl. The man looked at her in no interest, seeming to intend to spoil her fearlessness. So, what's your name? My name is, I will tell you next time if we can meet again. What the hell, are you normal? Hearing his answer, Why normal? What question is that? Hearing his answer, Tyria could not help to give a wry smile. She was speechless to him. I did this one because I knew you would like this. My job is finished. Go in and know the rest. He opened the door and kept hurrying Tyria to come in, without any etiquette of a gentleman. Oh God, really? Tyria swallowed hard and dragged her feet through the door. When she stepped on the floor, a sharp and scary noise came from below her feet. It seemed the blocks might break in a sudden stepped on. What? Tyria lifted her spirit and paid attention to a voice treading on blocks that seemed to be about to break, moving forward really carefully. At the very rear of the room, a man with grizzled but clean hair showed up. Wait, he was just sitting there, but then he showed up? It does a little bit. He was in a chair. It looked he could not be more than 40 or 50. In front of the man, there was a huge table, which couldn't be covered by two stretching arms. Sit. With a head of questions and doubts, she could do nothing but follow his words. Who are you? Well, I haven't introduced myself. My name is Sheriff. Mr. Sheriff? Is there something I can do for you since you call me here? You can just call me Sheriff. In fact, I must entrust you to help me with something. Entrust me to help you? After Tyria repeated his words, Sheriff spoke slowly with an even more serious face. Tyria, your parents passed away 14 years ago, didn't they? What makes you mention this now? I still remember the news. It took up quite a lot of space in the newspaper. What was special with the accident? Suddenly recalling the dream scene in the morning, Tyria unconsciously bit her lower lip. In fact, there is a secret associated with the accident. A secret? What? Yes, they do. Are you interested? His words aroused my interest, of course, since I lost my parents in that sudden accident. If there is any secret, I hope you can tell me everything. But I cannot tell you for free, can I? Uh-oh. I don't know. I don't like where this is going. How much do you want? Sitting there, Tyria thought about how much she owned in her little treasury. She could not pay all her deposit, because if so, she would not be able to live any longer. Wait, live any longer? She's out of money and she dies? If only I can live without living expenses. I don't need your money, but I need you to do something. Uh-huh. What do you want me to do? I need you to investigate something in Bill Ballard's place. Bill Ballard? Tyria felt her wishful thinking was all in vain when she heard the outspoken requirement of the man. So all I have to do is finish this thing. Yes, but I need you to do the investigation without anyone noticing it. So here's my question. It's just this chick, okay, that he happens to find at a bar, and he wants to get her to do this investigation and not be noticed. Does anybody find a problem with this? I thought about it at that moment, but I still wanted to know the facts anyway. Tyria stopped her hesitation and nodded slowly. I see. I will try my best. Then I'll count on you. After that, Tyria got details of the task from Sheriff. She will have to work in the palace from tomorrow. Oh, shit. Good thing I don't watch a lot of private detective animes. Sheriff planted me in the palace and assigned me a job there so easily. Who is he anyway? Tyria walked her way home while pondering it. It was pitch dark outside, and nobody would notice her even if someone passed by. Tyria passed through the cabins one after another, which all seemed to be wrapped by the woods, and only God knows how many there were. There they were. She finally stopped in front of one cabin, which seemed to have been rarely visited. You were really late today, Tyria. The moment she entered the room, amiable Aunt Cresta bobbed up, which calmed her down all of a sudden. Aunt Cresta, why are you still awake? Aunt Cresta kept rubbing her sleepy eyes. Despite of that, she pulled herself out of bed to welcome Tyria home. I just feel uneasy about you, Tyria. Have you been good in your job these days on Earth? Uh-huh. Well, Aunt Cresta, I am very sorry, but I got dismissed this time, again. Oh, why are you apologizing to me? Even you were dismissed. You must have your own reason, right? You should hold your head high if you believe you have done what should be done. Wait. What? I don't think I played that game. Thanks, Aunt Cresta. Deeply touched by what Aunt Cresta had said, my nose twitched and I was almost about to shed tears. Oh, here's some good news, though. I am going to work in the palace from tomorrow on. Oh yeah, Demon Heart. It sounds so shitty the way you describe it. That's a great game. I started a new topic immediately, trying to conceal my unstable voice, for I was so moved by her speech and also almost turned speechless. Oh, isn't it excellent? You must do your best. Aunt Cresta chortled. It seemed that Tyria's great spirit that was written on her face finally made her relieved. By the way, I have prepared you a stew over there. Just reheat the food and eat it if you are hungry. Well, I should probably get to sleep now. Good night. Okay, good night. Come on, let's get to the freaking castle already. Tyria went to the kitchen after watching Aunt Cresta off for sleep, and then reheated the stew. Humming a little tune, ladled the stew, and Tyria began to eat at the table. Aunt Cresta surely made the best stews. Totally ignorant of the secret ingredients of the soup, but it's for sure that Aunt Cresta serves much more delicious stews than any restaurant. Next time I must avail myself of the opportunity to make her teach me to make stews. After finishing Aunt Cresta's stew, Tyria got up, washed the dishes, and walked towards her own room. She opened the door, slammed down on the little bed, and before long fell out of consciousness and into a dream. Oh God, please don't tell me we're gonna have that fire dream again. I think it was a croissant. Okay. Oh God, fire again. It's so hot. Skin-burning heat waves kept coming and attacked Tyria. Mother, father. She was surrounded by ruined and broken down burning walls. The fire got even more fierce, and billowing smoke deprived one's sense of orientation. Tyria couldn't stop coughing and lowered her body. She stuck in a horrible panic and held a bear doll, and the favorite toy from childhood, lightly in arms. Just at that moment, a burnt roof fragment fell towards Tyria. No! Her back was burning hot, and the word painful was no longer capable of describing it. Maybe because of the inhalation of too much smoke, Tyria's throat suffered extraordinary pain, and she couldn't utter a sound at all. Somebody help! Somebody help me! Help! Help! She raised her head and asked the Lord for mercy just then. Are you all right? Suddenly a voice came through. It seemed somebody had rushed over to help. Someone held her right hand that was reaching all around frenziedly. Returning to quiet from under strain, Tyria became unconscious slowly at the same time. I think she passed out. What? Coming to her sense, Tyria woke up from the dream. I didn't expect that I actually have that to recall in my mind. So there was someone who had saved Tyria, surprisingly gentle memory. Never thought the whole thing had ever been recalled up to now. It is just beyond imagination. Who on earth was the person that saved me? Tyria tried hard to recall bits and pieces around that time, but all the time there was only an obscure figure wandering around. Indeed, the person was as tall as me, which means the person is of my age if he is alive. Although the memory was vague, the person in it was particularly minded all the time. The day of 14 years ago when the fire happened. Tyria got saved by someone unknown when she was unconscious, and ever since she had never got the chance to express gratitude or say thanks to the Savior. Just because of this, the desire of seeking the Savior grew stronger, as well as the idea, if only I could do something to repay. However, despite all the thoughts, by all possible means, the appearance of... okay, can we get past this? The appearance or figure of the benefactor just could not be remembered. I hate my shitty brain. God. Right, Aunt Cresta must know something about it. Oh, God. Aunt Cresta! It does get worse. Tyria entered inside in such a hurry without knocking the door that Aunt Cresta stood there, looking at her and blinking. What's up? You looked overexcited this morning. Sorry, I'm just sorry, but I have something to ask. Me? Yes, it was 14 years ago, Aunt Cresta. Someone saved me out of the burning house before you talked to me. She is. And I wonder, Aunt, did you see the person? Oh, oh, let me think. I do recall a view of the back of a young boy, and he was running. It must be him. It must be. Observing Tyria's expression and realizing that she was getting increasingly excited, Aunt Cresta had an amazed look on her face. What is it about that person? I never got the chance to thanks to him. I want to express my gratitude to him, and I want to pay him back. So, about this guy, do you have any idea where he is and what he is engaged in at the present? Aunt Cresta probably has no idea. Tyria replied on her own question. Suddenly, she became incredibly depressed. Oh, don't be so frustrated. As long as you two are destined, you will meet each other somewhere someday. Aunt Cresta, I think so. Thank you. She sounds really special when she talks. Really special. This aside, didn't you mention earlier that you will begin to work in the palace from today on? Ah, yes. I have to go now. Wait a minute. Eat your breakfast before you leave. You don't want to starve and be unfit at work. I will. After the chat with Aunt Cresta, Tyria had breakfast and headed to the palace. Oh, God. Okay. Showed Sherritt's letter of recommendation to the guard of the palace, who then passed me through the palace entrance very amicably. You know, these graphics are actually kind of cute. It sucks that this game actually is really badly written. It sucks. Tyria wandered around with great curiosity after the entering. There was a giant flower bed in which grew vari-colored flowers. 3 or 4 finely carved statues stood in the middle of the road. There was even a grand fountain in the center of the courtyard. How majestic! Verdant trees, obviously elaborately pruned, were made stand facing the castle, and the pathway was spotlessly clean. Tyria began to consider her showing up here as a mistake. The palace had such excellent environment, neat, grand, and magnificent. Following the direction of the guard, Tyria went toward another castle affiliated to the castle. Wait! There are 2 castles here? Wow! Tyria involuntarily uttered a sound of amazement. Thought there would be a wide space ahead to pass through, but a dozen servants were already waiting in the hall. Good morning. I begin to work here from today on. Hello everyone, my name is Tyria Ellie Strad. I'd appreciate your help in the future. Suppressing the nervousness, I decided to introduce myself to everyone. Then, of course. Oh god. Then a woman took a step forward and talked to me. I have heard from Mr. Sheriff of your arrival. I'm the eldest here, so I expect to have all my instructions followed at work. Mr. Sheriff? I understand. Although Sheriff told me it won't be necessary to address me respectfully, but judging from the fact that the eldest servant here referred to him so respectfully, it is possible that Sheriff is a powerful man. Tyria began to have a doubt. You can call me Madam, just so you know. Sure, Madam. So you were Tyria, according to your introduction. You were recommended to us by Mr. Sheriff, which means you are very confident of your capability, aren't you? What? Noticing the lady's abrupt mood change, Tyria thrust out her chest at once. Tyria, here is a special arrangement for you. From today on, you are to clean Prince Lantis's room. Yes, I understand. Okay, nobody knows who this chick is, and she's putting them on the duty to clean the prince's fucking room. Really? Then it is over to you. I will check whether you have done it well several hours later, so do your cleaning carefully. The lady then left everything to me, a broom, a bucket, and all other cleaning tools. Oh, please wait. Please wait. Wait, please. Where on earth is the prince's room? Well, she's a bitch. But the lady just turned away and left me here alone. Tyria was the only one left in the empty room, all by herself. The lady pretended not to hear her, and the whereabouts of all other servants were untraceable too. I guess they are bullying the newcomer. A bit annoyed, but that's okay, for she was about to see how good the newcomer is. I will do my best to find the prince's room, thought Tyria, and then she began to think hard. Use your head and think about it, Tyria. There must be a way to find it. While racking her brains, a noise of cat was heard from the corner of her room. Kitty! This animal is a creature that has actually influenced the universe, working in all ages, and thus got deified numerous times. Such creature with such a background was supposed to be addressed respectfully. It actually looks kind of like a rat, if you ask me. Kitty, Mr. Kitty. Tyria made a little change to her Mr. Kitty in the way of addressing it. A solid dark cat was curling up in the corner of the room, looking over here cautiously. It was popular among aristocrats to raise an elegant cat, which enjoyed a superior reputation as an animal. Even in all animals, even an ordinary girl as Tyria knew that fact. Well, thank goodness she has some sense. Of course cats are they're superior than all other animals. I get it. The owner of the cat must be living in this palace. Well, I would think so. Then Tyria suddenly came up with an idea. If I trace Mr. Kitty, he can lead me to his owner, and then I can ask his owner where the prince's room is. If the owner is a respected gentleman, he must be close to the prince, and he must know where the prince's room is. Such a clear mind. I admire myself. Mr. Kitty, wait, please. Stay there. Don't move. Had the decision made, Tyria pointed her finger at the kitty unexpectedly. But cats wouldn't stay still because someone asked it to wait. The cat was frightened and fled like crazy. Saw the cat was running, Tyria trotted after the fleeing cat. So are you guys actually following along with this? I mean, I know the translation's so bad, but... Alright. Oh my god. It is so exhausting. I feel awful. It was the original plan to rush through the passage, but Tyria got worried when the cat suddenly leapt up to the steps. Although Tyria was very confident of her strength, but even so, she had to throw in the towel when she kept running like this. Oh no, I'm done. She was tired out after the step climbing, only to find that the cat turned round and scurried into a room. Is that the cat owner's room? Tyria hobbled to the door of the room with the last reserves of strength and stopped to take a breath. The door was closed. She thought a gentle knock on the door would be replied by someone from inside, but there was no such reply at all. How the hell did the cat go through the door when it was closed? Excuse me, sorry to interrupt. There was no way but to enter and check. Tyria entered the room while keeping an eye on the surroundings, but there was no one inside. A gorgeous shining crystal chandelier hanging in the room reminded the ordinary girl, Tyria, of the word luxurious, and nothing else. Won't do it today? What? Tyria heard an unexpected voice from the next room when she stared blankly at the extravagant sofa, table, and chairs. There he is, the owner of Mr. Kitty. Followed the direction of the voice, and suddenly found the escaped cat sitting right by her feet. The maid. Please don't, Prince. Wait, the maid must be sobbing. Please don't, Prince. I must finish my work. Uh-oh. It's okay. It won't be a problem to be lazy for a little while. Tyria looked up to seek the voice and took a look. Oh boy. Big surprise. It was a couple flirting in bed. I think they're doing more than just flirting. Tyria realized immediately that she had entered a place where she shouldn't have when she saw it. Who are you? Or you are? I don't know. The man diverted attention to Tyria casually. After awaring of the presence of a third person, the maid dressed herself in a hurry. Then she jumped off the bed and fled the scene while burying her hands on face, promptly and hastily. Before long, the room returned to peace. And now it was awkward. Tyria cast a glance at the man. He was, as expected, looked quite displeased. He must be, no doubt, very angry now because I interrupted his flirting with the maid. Tyria was about to apologize, but just at that moment, meow, the cat by her feet made a sound. Oh, you are back, he said, petting the cat's head gently. The cat's tail dropped and it got up on its feet promptly to brush against the man. No, if a cat is happy to see you, it doesn't fucking drop its tail. It goes straight up in the air. Do these people not know cats? Maybe it was the proof of a good mood. Are you mad at me because I have an affair? Nobody knew what it is, a confirmation or a negation to its owner's words. The cat made a sort of cute sound and made a warm-up action before jumping onto the bed. Are you the owner of Mr. Kitty? You're right, it is a female cat, and Orostramze is her name. What the hell kind of name is that, Orostramze? Okay, and you are? Don't you know who I am? That's to say, you are new here. No wonder that I didn't see you before. It's my first day here to work as a servant of the palace. I see. I'm Lantis Runa Norgo. I am the prince of this country. Are you Prince Lantis? Alright guys, you guys are right. She's a fucking retard. Okay. I don't care if I lose friends for saying that. Yes. Although folktale said that the prince of the country was very attractive, it was beyond imagination that there should be a chance of being close to the prince during work. Tyria couldn't help but getting fascinated with the prince, but she managed to come back to sense right away. That means here is my room. Upon hearing the answer, Tyria said, "Great," and clenched her fingers secretly. Although it was a little different from the original plan, the result turned to be successful. She found the prince's room. Sometimes it was just rewarding to trust your instinct. It is all right as long as the result is good. That's what it is. Tyria put the sweeping staff... sweeping staff? Is that what we're calling brooms now? She put the sweeping staff she brought on the floor and rolled up her sleeves. I should clean the room now. What? The prince gave her an obvious disgusting look. I'm about to clean here. Is it convenient for you? I was so engaged in government affairs yesterday and the day before yesterday, I'm exhausted. The only thing I want to do now is get some sleep. How can he say such a thing? Just now he was flirting with the maid in the bed. Tyria couldn't help herself looking at the prince with dissatisfaction. But Lantis gave her a wry smile. What are you going to say with that look on your face? Well, I thought you were just in the mood for playing with that woman a moment ago, but now... Oh, come on. If you're really worried, if you're really sorry for interrupting us, why don't replace her and keep me company? What? The prince suddenly dragged Tyria's wrist and dragged her into bed. Just then she was tripped by something, and they both heard a sound of meow. It turned out that they accidentally stepped on the cat's tail when they were pushing each other. Tyria sat up immediately and reached her hands to the kitty, saying, "Sorry." She tried to pet the cat, but she touched someone else's hand. Well, at least it was just a hand. It was Lantis's. The prince also wanted to comfort the cat they stepped on. That's why they happened to touch each other's hands. Both of them got dumb for a second and looked at each other at the same time. That's right. But the cat's body suddenly... God, it's so stupid. Suddenly burst the brightly light and interrupted their eye contacts. Lord Ostrovse. The kitty's red eyes shone a beam of light to the wall. and then incredibly, the light became a reflection on the wall. He's a fucking movie projector. There was also a sound with that reflection. She heard someone talking. Lord Ostrovse, congratulations, your 5th birthday. Hold on, I get it. After the sound was gone, an image of a boy appeared on the reflection. And in that reflection, the table was covered with luxurious cuisines and cat food. It was apparent that they were celebrating something in the video. The boy's extravagant clothes attracted everyone's attention instantly. He looked like Lantis on the appearance, though it was not very obvious. Is there any chance that the boy in this video could be the prince when he is a little boy? I know, right? It's fucking so it's so fucking random. Oh, I need a sip of my coffee. Hold on. Okay, I can do this. The video she says the video. Okay, the video stopped in a sudden when Tyria tried to analyze those people who appeared in it. Hooray! Lantis suddenly jumped up and exclaimed like a little child. He shook Tyria's shoulders crazily and said in excitement, this is the happiest moment in my life. He never smiled like that before. The prince pulled Tyria up and danced happily with her. What? Are we going to dance? Though she had never danced before, Tyria had to sway with the prince and tried to catch his steps. That's definitely the power of Ander Dawes. Ander Dawes? What? Don't you know Ander Dawes? But certainly, there is no need for our normal people to know the existence of that kind of thing. I won't be too surprised. He sighed slightly and began to tell the story. Ander Dawes is a great power that only the royal family can manipulate. Power? Do you mean something like the reflection on the wall just a moment ago? It is what it is. That's all I gotta say. I suppose so. I used to see my father control that kind of power. So the king can control it too. Even so, what does the last part of this video means? Well, it means that we can use the power of Ander Dawes to extract animals' memories out. Lantis stopped dancing and sat on the bed. Tyria didn't know what to do, so she followed the prince and sat on the bed too. I suppose extracting animals' memory out won't be the only thing that the power of Ander Dawes can do. Is there anything else? Of course, my grandpa can talk to the animals, and my great-grandpa can order animals to do many things. Wow, so many different kinds of powers. As an heir of the royal blood, when one grows up, he normally can wake the power of Ander Dawes. However, it never happened to me, up until now. For an instant, Lantis looked so annoyed. Maybe not able to wake the power of Vander Dawes is a very miserable experience to him. As a common people, Tyria could never understand his feeling about it. So she secretly observed Lantis' facial expression, but the prince immediately put a happy smile on his face and let out a deep breath. I'm so pleased to think of joining the adults in the royal family from now on. Congratulations, that would be so nice. I don't know. We just met each other. Are you going to congratulate me like this? Lantis grasped her braids and played them casually. There was no reason not to give the best wishes when something nice happened to him, so Tyria nodded quickly and said, Of course. Lantis responded her with a thank you. What a perfect smile on his face. However, I would rather you do something else for me than just give your words of congratulations. Something else? Oh god. Lantis blinked to Tyria with his beautiful eyes and quirked up the corners of his mouth. Tyria saw he was touching his lips slightly, and she finally realized what he meant. Yet she was not crazy enough to kiss a stranger whom she just met a few minutes ago. The prince saw Tyria pushed an awkward smile on her face. Well, if you're not okay with that, how about... Lantis reached out his hands to hold Tyria's shoulders and tried to push her into the bed. How about we do something more interesting? Maybe Lantis' behavior was too reckless. A normal lady may agree with him under that circumstance. However, he didn't expect that Tyria had such a strong personal character, so he made a fool of himself. Ouch, ouch! Lantis was punched hardly by Tyria and cried out, which he had never done this before. Oops, I lost control again. But it was too late to regret. Tyria saw Lantis was looking at her bitterly. He tried to say something, but Tyria turned away to another direction quickly. Well, I need to clean the room now. Her mind was loaded with changing subjects to avoid the awkward situation. Tyria wouldn't dare to turn back and look at the prince. However, she finally threw a quick glance at Lantis. Well, he's not mad at me anymore. Hey, I don't know your name yet. What is it? My name? Yeah, tell me your name. It's Tyria Ellie Strad. Well, so your name is Tyria. Good to know. Why? You know, the first person in the world who dared to strike me is Tyria. I will memorize this name deeply. Is he talking about me beating him? He seems so vindictive. Seeing Tyria's face was full of depression, Lantis suddenly raised his voice. I never imagined there would be someone who would dare to hurt me. How am I going to punish you? Oh god. Am I going to be fired on the first day? Tyria lowered her head in panic. Please, don't fire me. Me? Fire you? Lantis broke into laughter for a moment. Why on earth should I do that? Tyria secretly lifted her head and saw Lantis narrowed his eyes, staring at her. It's not easy to find a new toy. How could I let you go so easily? With the sound of whoosh, Tyria quivered when she felt a chill coming from her back. Okay, I have to report to my dear mother right now. Time to leave. See you soon. Lantis stood up and held the cat in his arms. And then he suddenly rushed over and blew Tyria a kiss. Tyria leaned to another side in a hurry to avoid it. The prince was so shocked to see Tyria's behavior, and he walked away with a high-pitched laughter. What an optimist the prince is. Tyria gawked to Lantis disappearing at the door. She took a deep breath and stood up from the bed. Anyway, I'd better clean the room right now. If I can't speed up the cleaning after delaying so long, I probably couldn't finish the work when Senpai comes to me. Wait, who's Senpai? Oh, is that the chick that was made? That desperate idea passed her mind. Tyria rushed over to open the window and let the fresh air in. When she walked to the bed and saw the mess they made, she blushed. His movement is quite familiar. Maybe that guy often does those things. Wait, what on earth am I thinking about? I really need to start my job now. She shook her head to clean the mind and began to sweep the floor from the edge of the room. The ashes and trashes The ashes and trashes were rising everywhere when Tyria dumped them into the trash can. She coughed a little. Now I only need to scrub the floor with duster cloth and make the bed. That would be all. She wrung out the duster cloth and began to clean the floor. It was also like cleaning her own mind. Tyria devoted herself to scrub the floor and then the desks and chairs. Thank God that's over. Oh God. I don't know how far I get in this. After finishing cleaning the whole room, Tyria was having a rest when she heard steps coming from the door. Are you done with the cleaning? The door opened and the lady showed at the door. Tyria nodded. She had a feeling that the lady was very strict to freshmen, so when the lady was examining the cleaning, Tyria's heart began to beat fast. Well done. That would be all. Really? Yeah, you're qualified, understand? Tyria was so delightful when she heard the lady that she wanted to jump up and cheer. Looks like you do know your work. As a servant, your working speed is quite fast. Thank you so much. It's not a compliment. I'm only saying that it is your job to do so. Tyria shrugged when she heard the lady suddenly change the intonation. Your job is done today. Now get some rest in your dormitory. The lady turned away and left the room when she finished the sentence. Wait, where is the dormitory? And is there a place for me? She tried to ask the lady, but the lady didn't look back. She wants to bully me again. Wait a second, my lady. Tyria rushed over and put her hands on the lady's shoulders. You guys are so mean to bully the freshmen. Bullying freshmen? What do you mean? Are you trying to avoid the subject now? Why don't you tell me where is the prince's room at the first place? What? What are you saying? I called your name, but you also pretended not to hear me. After hearing Tyria complain all her dissatisfaction she had been restrained today, Senpai was so apologetic. I'm so sorry. There is something wrong with my right ear, so I can't hear clearly. Oh my God, so that's the reason why you ignored me. After knowing the reason, Tyria felt so ashamed about her behavior. Well, so how can I call you, Senpai? Do you really need to know my name at work? But it's so boring to call you Senpai every time. Seeing Tyria was a little bit depressed about the misunderstanding, Senpai scratched her face and said, Rosette. Get it. Senpai, your name is Rosette. From now on, I will call you Rosette Senpai. Tyria shook Senpai's hands and acted like a spoiled child, and the lady reluctantly sighed, saying, Whatever you like. Tyria was so happy that Senpai gave her the permission. She never had a female friend before, so she was really glad that she could finally have an intimate girlfriend, though they were a little bit different from normal friends. Stop wasting time in here. You'd better go to your dormitory now. But I haven't told Aunt Cresta that I'm staying here. It's too late. It's so late today. Let's tell Aunt Cresta tomorrow. Tyria said yes, and then followed Senpai. God. Alright. This is exhausting. Hold on, I gotta go blow my nose. I don't know why this, I don't know why reading VNs make me congested. Hey, is that Prince Lantis? Looking forward, there were two people whose shadows were pointing to the north building at the intersection of the hallway of the dormitory and the palace. Who is the other person? Watching Tyria was trying to find out who the other one was. Senpai smiled. The other one, it's the queen. Ah, that person is your majesty? Tyria realized she almost yelled it out. She shut her mouth immediately. But Prince Lantis was yelling much more loudly than she was. Oh, we get a CG. Mom, my power of Vander Dawes has finally been awake. I've told you that you must call me Mother. Oh, I'm sorry, Mother. That's okay. But is that real that your power of Vander Dawes has been awake? Although the Queen heard her son's power had been awake, she still showed no surprise on her face. Maybe to Her Majesty it was not the exciting news. Of course, I have a witness, a servant called Tyria. Tyria? Do we have a servant called Tyria? She seems to be the servant who starts working in the palace from today. That's right, and you are not going to flirt with her, are you? Well, no, not yet. You had better keep it in control. If the girl really falls in love with you, you will be in trouble. Why? I will not be in trouble. I will abandon them as soon as I lose my interest. He just says it so casually. That's true. Lantis's laughter and the high voice of the Queen mixed together. Such a scum. Tyria cursed him secretly and followed Senpai closely. When they passed the Queen and Lantis, Senpai saluted and Tyria also saluted as Senpai did. Oh my god, I'm so nervous. One moment, please. Oh shit. They were suddenly stopped when they continued walking to the dormitory. Tyria and Senpai stood there. You are the new servant, Tyria. Yes, Your Majesty, it's very nice to meet you. Tyria looked down and the Queen made some strange sound. Of course, who sent you here to work as a servant? It's Sheriff. Really? What's wrong? The Queen looks not that happy. Tyria was a little curious about it, but it will be rude if she keeps asking, so she shut her mouth again. Mother, are you alright? Lantis noticed the reaction of the Queen and tried to hold her. That's alright. I'm just a little tired. Thank you. The Queen held his hands back and smiled, and then she turned to Tyria. At the beginning, the work will be hard because you need to remember a lot. But hang on there. I see, and thank you for your concern. The Queen said encouraging words, putting her hand on Tyria's shoulder. Tyria felt so frightened about the Queen's friendly concern, she kept her head down for a very long time. Rosette, we will celebrate in a week, for Lantis's power of Vander Dawes has been awake. I will prepare the invitation letters to earls and other nobility, and then you will help me to send those letters. Yes, Your Majesty. God, my voice. Throat's getting raw. After the Queen gave Senpai the order, she walked to the palace with Lantis. I'm gonna get you guys hooked on this thing. You're gonna want me to finish it up, I bet. A few hours later, Tyria followed Senpai to her own room. Finally, she could have a rest. Vander Dawes is the name of the power. It's the name of the power where he can turn the cat into a freaking video projector. Oh, shit. What happened? What is that sound? Tyria was sleeping when the bell rang loudly. She jumped up from her bed very quickly. Is that the man? Tyria tried to remind the man in her memory. She wanted to go outside to make sure if it was him. What man? She was so excited. When she got out of her room, she saw Senpai was standing there with a candlestick. You get up too? The Phantom Thief, he is showing again. Ah! The same situation happened about 4 years ago. That day, Aunt Cresta went shopping. Tyria stayed at home. She suddenly heard the loud bell ringing just like now. She had no idea what happened, just ran out surprisingly. Then she saw a man wearing a black gown moving from roof to roof very quickly. He was wearing a mask, so Tyria couldn't see his face. But Tyria just fell in love with the man at first sight with no reason. A lot of soldiers were running after that man. He beat the soldiers down with a dagger one by one. Tyria felt so excited about that. That's the righteous hero. When she heard Aunt Cresta said, "That's the Phantom Thief," she was so upset. Okay, I will go. What? Gone already? What on earth did he want for? Okay. Senpai realized that Tyria was a little disappointed and tried to hold her laughter. He came here to make sure if you were alive. What? Really? If you really cherish your own life, just stay in your room and don't come out. Hearing Senpai's words, Tyria went back into her room as soon as possible. Aunt Cresta also said the same words. Never go out when the Phantom Thief shows. Must stay in your house seemed to be a tradition starting from ancient times. There was a rumor why they couldn't go out. If you go out, the Phantom Thief will steal your life, so people just didn't go out anymore. Today, it has become the rule that everybody knows. So nobody goes out at night, because you know what, the Phantom Thief might be out there. I have to spend the whole day in my room. Other people will not go out, and if people don't go out, there is no work to do. When Tyria planned to go back into her room, she suddenly stopped. That's right, about the deal with Sheriff. Is this a good time now? In the empty channel, in the dim light before the sun goes down, after the bell rang, everything was in silence. If someone planned to do research secretly, it is the best chance now. Let me finish the deal with Sheriff now. Tyria tried not to make too much noise and went to the palace. She's supposed to do some spying, snooping, I don't know. They never actually really was very clear about that. The destination was the room of the Queen's follower. This was the deal with Sheriff. Try to find out the financial documents in the Queen's follower's room. That was what he said. About why Sheriff wanted those documents, Tyria had no idea. She searched the palace with the map, which got from Senpai. The rooms in the palace were very small, so it's difficult to find the right one. The place with 2 thick pillars. That's it, here. There was a card which said, Victor, hanging on the door of the room. That must be the name of the Queen's follower. Tyria said, excuse me, opened the door and walked inside. There was a picture drew by Who the hell's Tinga Tinga? Oh god. There's a picture drew by Tinga Tinga hanging on the wall. What an artistic room. Yeah, I think it's her lackey. Because the Phantom Thief showed, maybe the follower still was in this room, but there was no one here. Perfect. I can find what I want now. There was a desk in this room, and I know. I don't know who the fuck Tinga Tinga is supposed to be. There was a desk on this room, and the stuff on the desk was very tidy. The Queen's follower seemed to be very earnest. Tyria opened the drawer and found out a document which seemed like the account book. Yeah, it's totally a copycat. Is this the document? She was watching the numbers in the document. What are they moving? Although there were the dates and the list of notes which recorded where the money went, Tyria still couldn't sure this was the document Sheriff wanted. I think this is the document. Tyria took the document with her, wanted to just take it away. But she stopped and squatted down again. If someone finds out this document is stolen, maybe they will search every place to find the thief. Tyria wrote all the notes down in the notebook, which was on the desk, and tore the paper from the notebook very carefully. Then she put the document back. That should do it. Now it's time to leave. Really? Tinga Thing is actually a thing? What are you doing? Suddenly, there was someone speaking to Tyria from the back, and she was stunned. She never thought there would be someone speaking to her. She turned back very slowly. There was a man who dressed in evening dressing, staring at her defensively. I will ask you again, what are you doing here? I think I'm in the wrong room. Wrong? What? Wrong room? How long have you been here? I'm the new servant. And you are? I'm the owner of this room. My name is Victor. Victor put his arms across his chest. He got the dust off his tuxedo and checked himself through the mirror hanging on the wall. Tyria thought this man was not easy to deal with. You said you were the newest servant. Is that true? Victor was staring at her and tried to find out the truth. The sight was so strong that Tyria felt like she was tied up. She put the paper in the back pocket furtively and nodded to Victor. If you were really the new servant, it's okay to go into the wrong place, but don't do this again. He seemed to be obsessively tidy. He even used the handkerchief to adjust his own glasses. I'm sorry to enter your room without permission. Yeah, I don't think I ever really need to know about Tinga Tinga, but... Tyria wanted to leave his room quietly, as if she didn't touch anything. Wait a second. Tyria was stopped when she just put her hand on the handle. She was so frightened. What's that? You left something. Victor was pointing at the cleaning tools. Tyria went to clean up the tools hastily, saluted, and then went out. Knowledge, I thought... God. Knowledge is half the battle. At least the music's kind of nice. Oh my god, it's so dangerous. The sun covered by the dark clouds could be seen from the window. The light reflected by the marble corridor was so blinding that Tyria narrowed her eyes. I've got the data. Just come back to my room then. Tyria walked through the long corridor and went back to her room. Tyria, where have you been? Hearing someone greeting, Tyria turned back and found that Senpai was staring at her with a mysterious look. I just went to the toilet. There is one in your room, isn't it? Tyria felt a little panic about the question. I just want to see what are the other toilet like. Really? It sounded like a very awful excuse. But fortunately, Senpai didn't keep asking. Tyria eased her mind. Rosette Senpai, today I want to come back home. I didn't even tell Aunt Cresta I would live in the dormitory from now on. Even for that, I have to go back. Okay, the Phantom Thief is gone anyway. Take care of yourself. Yes, she is. Senpai said nothing more, just turned around and left. Shit. It was quite late arrived at home after Tyria went to somewhere else. I am home, Tyria said at the door when she finally arrived, but no one answered her this time. Would it be possible that Aunt Cresta fell asleep? It's quite normal to be asleep, for it's already after 10 p.m. She went inside and put her luggage on the desk. Then she took the paper copied last night out of her pocket to check it out. Though there was a little dangerous at the moment, this investigation had been done quite successfully. Give this paper to Sheriff tomorrow. She ate some snack and went to the second floor quietly to avoid interrupting Aunt Cresta. Worrying. Worrying? What? In order to relax myself totally, she laid her whole body down on the bed and closed her eyes, thinking about what had happened last night and clearing up the related people's information. Among them, there was someone that Tyria cared a lot. Who was he? I haven't even met these other people. Alright, we're just gonna go with the prince. Prince Lantis. As the prince of the kingdom of Berubelad, I guess that's how you say it, he was always respected and adored by the women in his country. It's said by the rumor that he was quite popular among women. She didn't think he just was the one people were talking about when they first met. She only thought he was so handsome, but nothing else. Tyria never thought that Prince Lantis was such a frivolous person, because the prince in reality was quite different from the perfect one she had imagined. Tyria felt quite disappointed. I don't know. I don't know who the two other guys are, so... It would be perfect if he takes women more seriously. If so, then what should he be saying? What should to be say? Tyria felt she couldn't pull herself out of this phantom thief thought, so she shook her head hardly to give it up. Until now, she had never thought about the feeling between men and women, and had no idea what it was like to be seeing someone. Though she had talked about such kind of topic with colleagues at work, she had never thought to know it deeply. Plus, there is a large identity gap between Prince Lantis and Tyria. A servant wants to be the lover of a Prince Lantis. Someone should have a little shame no matter how shameless she is. It's better to go to sleep right now. She needs to get up early tomorrow. Why? You know what? It kills me because you're hearing her thoughts, but she's talking in the third person. Tyria pulled the pillow to put it under her head. Sooner she fell into deep sleep. Oh. It was a nice sleep. After getting up in the morning, Tyria stretched herself lazily with a yawn. The bright sunshine came in through the window, and birds were singing happily out of the window. Today is another day with good weather to cheer people up. Good morning, Aunt Cresta. Good morning. Where did you sleep the night before? I slept in the dormitory of the palace. I will live in the palace from now on, so Aunt Cresta don't have to wait for me very late every night. Oh, I get it. She sat at the table as usual. Aunt Cresta brought her a warmly thick soup. After drinking a few mouthfuls of soup, Tyria suddenly noticed something. Aunt Cresta, did you see a piece of paper that I put on this table? Ah, that paper? I threw it in the fireplace as rubbish. What? That is the thing. I will give to Sheriff today. Her mind got blank instantly and started to stutter. Tyria said so after she drank up all the water in the glass in one breath. Aunt Cresta, that is a very important thing. That's why I put it on the desk on purpose in case I forget it. Is that so? It didn't come to me that it's so important to you, so I thought let it to burn. I am so sorry. Aunt Cresta's face wore an apologetic expression. Tyria wanted to complain it more, but she could say nothing when she saw Aunt Cresta's face. The thing had happened. No matter how hardly she blamed her, the lost thing could not come back again. After sighing deeply, Tyria showed a smile on her face again. Forget it. Let it be. Copy it again when I get another chance. Though it was a problem to catch the chance, it will be helpless to be worried about it now. The time will be wasted for worrying. It's better to spend the time on something else than to think about it. So the awkward atmosphere will be dispelled and she can have another beautiful day. Aunt Cresta, I am going to work. Tyria refreshed herself and opened the gate, directly walking to her workplace. I'm gonna have to finish this for you guys, because I remember what happens at the end, and there's some funny fucking shit coming up, and I don't think I'm gonna finish it in time by 3 o'clock. It's a long distance from home to the palace, but it's not a problem for Tyria, for she is full of energy. Tyria speeded up a little, the scene covered by trees, and the beautiful cities built by people constantly passed through her eyes. Well, who else would have built the cities other than the people? After walking about 30 minutes, Tyria finally arrived at the gate of the palace. It's with the same guard standing at the gate as the day before. Tyria stopped. The guard gave Tyria the way to her dormitory without questioning her when he noticed that it was Tyria. He seemed to have remembered what Tyria looks like. Tyria noted and said, "Good morning," but he responded nothing. Maybe he was ruled to do his job well during the work time and was not allowed to communicate with others randomly. She just wanted to get along with him. With a little disappointment, Tyria went through the gate. She wishes she can do the job happily. She won't be perfunctory about the job, but she would rather to communicate with others than to be silent when she was working. I just don't know how I'll get through that last scene for you guys without getting myself banned. It's like completely innocent all the way up to there. Ah. After making up herself in her own little room, Tyria went to the hall. When she arrived, most of the servants had been waiting there. Good morning, Senpai. Good morning. It was a little early right now, but we have to work now. A lot of cloth was delivered to them. On top of them was a cloth with embroidery. It looks very beautifully manly. Wait, very beautiful, mainly patterned. It looks very beautiful, mainly patterned with red roses twined by the branches and leaves. That's a mouthful. So pretty. This cloth had a very fine embroidery. So far she had never seen such kind of delicacy embroidery. Yes, there will be. There will be. Oh god. Tyria, do you have any experience in embroidery? I had never done it before. Senpai's face hardened when she heard her answered her so definitely. Is it today? We have to finish embroidering all these cloths in any case. All of these need to be done? She couldn't help herself to call it out, but Senpai just answered her casually. Right, what's the matter? You can't make it? No problem, just kind of thing. Such kind of thing. God, this is getting bad. She said it obstinately, but to admit that, I am a layman, so I can't make it, would be better. No. And the thing is, the censoring, this doesn't really cover that much. But it was too late to think about it after she said that. You're so easy to bite the bait, Senpai whispered. What did you say? She asked. Senpai said, Nothing, I said, nothing, and swung her hand, asking me to follow her. Oh god. Yeah, this is the game where they actually call, like, things meat bars and shit. Or erectile meat bar. I think that was the actual phrasing. Okay. It was so elegant that Senpai walked leisurely on the corridor. She just seemed to be not much older than Tyria, but what she acted tells that she had been through very tough training. She had told me that she was the one worked the longest time in the palace, but it was when since she began to work in the palace. That question was constantly lingering in Tyria's mind. Though she wanted to ask about it, but when she decided to open her mouth, she shut it up suddenly, because she felt that Senpai wouldn't communicate with her like the guard except work. Tyria went forward silently following Senpai. Right here. Following Senpai behind the door, there were 2 chairs inside. Sit down. Senpai sat on one of the chairs and asked her to sit on the other. After Tyria sat down, Senpai spread out the tailor tools brought with her and began to thread a needle. No, not the flute sword. God, that one's actually boring. This one's entertaining. Tyria felt a bang in her heart. Such a delicacy job is what Tyria not good at. Now we will begin to embroider these cloths, which will be used as tablecloths at Prince Lantis' celebration party after a few days. I see. So there shouldn't be any errors or any mistakes. Do you get it? Yeah, I get it. Though she answered very politely, Tyria had to nod her head, for there was no room for refutation. Then, let's begin right now. Senpai handed the threaded needle to Tyria and began to teach her how to embroider. No, don't put it there. Don't put it through there. You should get the needle through from the back. Ah, is that so? Tyria so far had never sewn a clothes, not to mention the embroidery. She always let Aunt Cresta dealing with those difficult things. She never did the things that she was not good at. But she shouldn't escape from it today. You can do it, she constantly encouraged herself while embroidering. At the first 30 minutes, she was continually blamed by Senpai, but the house began to quiet after she mastered the skill. You can make it when you begin to do it. She felt very happy. It's because that Senpai had a better impression about herself. Hold on. Oh, holy hell. Senpai had a better impression about herself. Teria smiled consciously. It hurts. A bloody point was exuding in the finger of her right hand when she looked at the painful position. It turned out to be pricked by the needle. See, were you thinking something else? I don't even know what's going on here. I don't understand any of this. Senpai pressed Teria's finger with a handkerchief and helped her stop the bleeding. Thank you. It's just nothing, but you shouldn't let the blood drop on the embroidered cloth. Right, it must be washed if the cloths were stained. Even so, there might have some traces. Teria nodded her head after hearing what Senpai said. From then on, Teria became very careful. Teria stared closely at the sewing to avoid making another mistakes. One needle by another, she deliberately got her needle through the cloth back and forth. Senpai, I have finished one. So please embroider the rest cloths in the same way. There are about 50 ones left. 50? Because of the over-astonishment, Teria's voice broke a little. Do you want me to finish it in one day? Figuring in mind. How long does it take? Teria, thinking of the problem. If I can't finish it within 8 hours, I have to work overtime. Wait, she's gonna make me do all this shit because she doesn't want to work overtime? Worrying. I took a deep breath when I felt the pressure. If it goes on like this, it won't be finished. It's hard to calm down such a chaotic brain now. But, well, the rest is for you. Senpai, are you leaving? That's for sure. If I am with you all day long, I can't do other things. Yes, she has other work to do. She just fucking shirked all that shit off on me. Watching Senpai disappeared from eyes, Teria turned around and faced the cloth again. In my life so far, have I had the opportunity to contact so many fabrics? Well, no. Teria beat against her cheek twice in order to encourage herself after that. She picked up the needle and continued sewing. Tick-tock, tick-tock. The ancient clock hung on the wall made a crisp sound. As if cooperating with the sound, the needle in hand flies constantly. Once Teria concentrated on it, the rest of the world wouldn't bother her. Although she was thinking of it, the reality was different. Just now, the chatting sound of men and women outside constantly flew into Teria's ears, bothering her and making her unable to concentrate on her work. If you chat, I wish you go somewhere else. Teria's little face crumpled up. Oh, Excellency Lantis, don't do this in public. I will be shy. You don't like to do it here, do you? In that case, let's go to my room, okay? Maybe feeling nobody around, the two persons talked louder and louder. But in Lantis's room, there is a jealous lover, isn't it? Lover? Ah, are you talking about Ostramze? Yes, she is very aloof to women. Not knowing that the person in the room was very depressed, the two people were still chatting. Teria finally stopped the needle. She quietly approached the window and saw through the window the two people outside. Outside the window there was a ginkgo tree. Behind the flourishing ginkgo tree there were two people joyously flirting. Teria took a closer look and saw the woman next to the prince was not the first one who played with the prince. This woman was dressed in white and pale red princess dress and gold elaborated jewelry. From the clothes she wore, it seemed that she was a lady from a rich family. This guy is flirting with another woman. Now in Teria's eyes, Lantis is a frivolous prince. Sorry, my nose is killing me. Yes, it's terrible. Lord Orastramze, maybe. Wait, Lord Orastramze, maybe. Now see us in some place. You think too much. Nobody can now disturb us. Lantis's hand slowly wrapped around the woman's waist. It's not good, Excellency, Lantis. Feeling a bit ashamed, the woman wriggled her wrist and tried to escape from the prince. Lantis did not give her the opportunity to escape, and held her more tightly. Tell me the truth, have you done the same thing to many girls? Who told you that? Even in the countryside, there is a rumor like this. Excellency Lantis is now the most giddy man in the world to women. Giddy man? Lantis lifted the jaw of the laughing woman with a frivolous smile. Now that you say so, let me block your pink cherry lips with my own lips. The two people fell into the world of their own. now. If a scene effect is added to Tyria's world, it's just the feeling of the petals falling in the air. Those two people's line of sight collided together with passion, constantly touching and caressing each other. For Tyria, who worked hard there, it was really annoying. Excellency Atlantis, do you only love me? Of course. Now I can say I love you so much that I can't help it. These two people did not know what kind of mood Tyria was in, and indulged in their own world, unable to extricate themselves. Hope they know when to stop. I had hardly just mastered the skill of embroidery. Tyria's inner depression became more and more difficult to control. After the outbreak of the depression the next moment, something extraordinary happened. That's so annoying! Tyria opened the window and shouted to the outside. The frightened two people looked over there. The woman immediately reacted and glared at the side. You don't do your work. What are you looking? My work? Hey! It's because you two are disturbing me. I can't go any further now. Is that so? The woman quietly coughed, standing a little further away from Lantis. Perhaps she felt that it was not decent to go on. Although Lantis was sad, he knew they couldn't do it again. Yes, it's better for you two to change a place to flirt. Tyria smiled at the woman. The woman turned her face to the other side. It looked as if the good mood had been completely destroyed. Excellency Lantis, thank you for taking the time to accompany me today. I'll leave now. She just fucking screwed up his booty call. The woman picked up the skirt, gave a salute to the prince, and hurried away. Unexpectedly, she was a decent lady. Looking at the woman with the white sun umbrella and graceful steps, Lantis sighed helplessly. Why do you always turn up at my best time? This is the second time. Hey, bye, Arcos. This is almost over. I'll probably end up just doing it for another 10 minutes and maybe streaming it again on Tuesday. We'll see. These were the words Tyria wanted to say. These are the words I want to say. Didn't you just say that? Why do you always turn up when I want to work and disturb my work? Why? Is it because you like me, so you disturb my work? What were you thinking about? Tyria just wanted to do her job well. But it was said by the prince that she wanted to make out with him, so her depression was out of control. What nonsense? How could that be? When she was out of control and roared, Lantis suddenly put his hands on the window. Hey, what are you going to do? The prince wanted to enter into the room from the window with the strength of his own hands. One or two steps back with panic, Lantis entered into the room. When I was young, I used it as my back door, and often sneaked out of the palace to play. It is very much the wrong word. You have done such a barbarous thing. You are indeed a prince. Puff. I am a barbarous prince. Now, this kind of behavior has become a habit subconsciously. Even if I say, you break into other people's rooms so casually, Lantis didn't mind about walking around the room and sitting down on the chair that Senpai just sat. In fact, with a self-assured or supercilious manner, his behavior was very natural and easy. Indeed, as a prince, he was born with charisma. Is this? After seeing a pile of material piled up in the basket on the table, Lantis asked. This is the tablecloth used for the evening party recently to be held for the celebration of the Prince Lantis. That was quite a mouthful. Lantis sighed. Then inadvertently smiled. Are you glad to have a party? Of course, in this way I can, as a member of the royal family, be accepted by everybody. Yes, in that case, you are really looking forward to it. Lantis smiled and nodded when he heard Tyria's words, but suddenly he seemed to remember something. You don't seem to speak to me with respectful address. Lantis's words suddenly reminded Tyria. The man who sat opposite was the prince. This has been totally forgotten. For the rude words in the past, can I ask your You Excellency to forget them. Organized the words in a fluster, Teria uttered a sentence even more ridiculous. What are you talking about? The tone just now. Of course, the strange tone just now was laughed at by the prince. Oh, how strange. It shouldn't be like this. In fact, you don't have to speak to me with respectful address. They all use honorifics to me. I'm tired of listening to it. Oh god, hold on. I hate having to sit here and blow my nose with you guys listening to me, but... Really? There is someone who speaks the same way as I do. That is fresh and exciting for me. Fresh and exciting? I thought there was something wrong with the statement. Hey, Teria, Libby has been driven back by you just now. Can you now be my companion? The woman by the name of Libby should be referring to the lady just a moment ago. From his arrogant tone of voice, it seemed that he had no heart for that woman. With you? I'm with you right now, isn't it? No, I'm not talking about that kind of company. Oh boy. Suddenly her wrist was pulled. Teria was pulled into Lantis's arms. At this moment, the moment when Lantis's lips were about to kiss her neck, Teria sighed softly. She particularly spoke with the tone Lantis could hear. Get rid of it anyway, if tired of it. When I sneered with these words, Lantis froze there motionlessly. It must be because I read his mind, so he was just speechless. At that time, did you hear my words? He muttered softly. I nodded quietly. That's just a phrase, as a bluff in front of my mother. Really? Lantis's words were unreliable. I suspected him to a certain extent. If you get tired of it, just throw it away, though I say so. But the one who really gets tired of being abandoned is me. But saying so, Lantis gave me a wry smile. His smile looked lonely. Teria kept silent and said nothing. What? Wouldn't that make me sway my idea? Although I have seen him smile and bicker, his gloomy expression I never saw. Like an abandoned puppy, he stared at Teria. He gave such an expression which made me feel guilty. My words are finished. I have work to do. Do not disturb me. Getting rid of the thought of self-accusation, I said so to Lantis. This was not a lie, because there was work waiting for me to finish, and there was no time to talk with Lantis. I broke free from his arms, sat on the chair, and continued the needle embroidery. Although Lantis observed silently, soon he sat on the chair besides and stared at Teria. Hey, I have said, do not disturb me. I'm just looking at you. It doesn't affect you, does it? Although perhaps he did not affect me, his staring at me always distracting me. Lantis just stared at Teria doing embroidery. I just couldn't figure out what he was thinking. It hurts. I got pricked again. Because I've been wondering what the trouble guy sitting next to me was thinking, the needle pricked the finger. God. I looked at my index finger. It was bleeding red blood. While trying to wrap my finger in a handkerchief borrowed from Senpai, my hand was seized by a hand that was outstretched from the side. What are you doing? Sterilizing for you. What? It took several seconds for me to understand what Lantis means. What? When I recovered, Lantis's lips have already kissed on the wound. I was so surprised that I could not say a word. Let me go. Kissed my lips softer than expected, Teria could not restrain her inner vacillation. Although all efforts have been made to dodge, she trembled slightly for this kiss. This was probably because of the awareness that Lantis has also become a mature man. You mean he wasn't one before? He always gives people the impression that he is a man with gorgeous clothes and not good at quarreling. What? When Teria muttered secretly, Lantis's action gradually became more intense. The moment his tongue came out, his tongue began to indecently lick the wound. Ah! Involuntarily, a sweet, delicate breath came out from Teria's mouth with slight nasal sound. I'm not going to be doing moaning sounds for you guys. I'm just going to tell you that right now. In panic, Teria covered her mouth with the other hand. This was the first time that a man did such thing to her. Just because it was the first time, Teria didn't know what to do with it. After all, she was never hand in hand with man, so it was natural that Teria got lost. If Teria was angry, generally speaking, the man would be beaten, but this time was not so. Now Teria was more frightened than angry, just constantly feeling the touch and tightly closing her eyes. It is very appropriate. Well, it's over. What's over? What just happened? Listening to what he said as if nothing had happened, Teria froze there. Once she opened her eyes, Lantis' smile appeared in front of her. He is quite different now, and he doesn't seem to be the same person like before. One cannot help wondering if he was another person. Teria's arm was suddenly released, and she stood in amazement. Well, I'm gonna leave. Cheer up for the work. Lantis left with a big smile. What just happened there? Did he just get it on with my finger? He never turned his head back. When Lantis disappeared on the other side of the door, Teria suddenly felt tired. What happened? Teria felt lost and sighed. Later on, she inadvertently looked at the clock, and almost shouted out. It's been an hour after all. What happened? He was just talking to Lantis. That had already wasted an hour. Teria quickly resumed to work on embroidery. It was quiet, lonely space with no one to talk to. The sun shone in through the dim window. Teria's fingers were busy at working. Time was fleeting. Time flies! It not even says, it's not even like 8 hours later, it's time flies. Although it was quiet after the prince left, the sunlight through the window gradually faded away. The moonlight shone in through the window instead of sunlight. The flow of clouds could be clearly noticed. Teria looked again at the clock. Obviously, the set time would come to an end within only 1 hour. If it went on like this, Teria would not be able to finish the work in the regulated time. Wait, regulated time or relegated time? A repulsive idea flashed through Teria's mind. No, I could not give up. Teria made her mind up after gaining courage while tapping lightly on her head, with sound like babe, like bang bang. How hard is she fucking tapping your head? Alright, I will go for it. Teria could conquer herself if she finished sewing up the last 4 pieces of cloth during the following time. Her hands moved continuously while the speed of stitching, which was faster than just now. How is Teria now who has a Laban a few hours ago? She mastered the workmanship of fine products with the speed almost like that of a professional. However, despite all this, the relentless time was up. This chapter's gonna be almost over. Before Teria finished sewing, the clock hanging on the wall of the room rang. Teria, have you finished sewing? Rosette Senpai! Teria felt powerless as soon as she saw Rosette. Their nervous feeling of sewing alone in a tense atmosphere was finally relieved up to now. I'm sorry, I couldn't finish sewing all 50 pieces of cloth. Teria felt very unwilling to say so and bit her lips. There were a few tears in her eyes. How many pieces are left? There are 2 pieces left. Are there? In sharp contrast with Teria's unwillingness, a smile appeared on Rosette's face. 50 pieces of cloth have been sewed up. Huh? What do you mean? Nothing, because there are 2 pieces which are extra ones. Well, how convenient. Huh? Teria made a surprised sound. In fact, there are more cloth in the basket than the required quantity. Why did you do such a thing? This is a supplement as a defective work. It's a matter of course to put in preparations. I see. And that's arranged to make sure you won't slack. Senpai was really bad. I wish she had made it clear to me at the beginning. Yeah, but that would have... That's exactly why she did it. Rosette sighed when Teria thought like this. Because I think you will not be so skilled if I had made it clear to you from the start. Hey, why is that? It's just that feeling. Rosette moved to another topic with the sentence, it's just that feeling. Tyria dropped her shoulder and felt a little upset. However, anyway, today's work was finished. She felt she could be happier. It wasn't long before the joy of finishing the work softened her facial expression. What's wrong with you? You look uncomfortable. Rosette seriously teased Tyria while looking at her silly smile. Tyria rubbed her face with two hands to adjust the facial expression. Rosette laughed while saying, "What a strange child." Can we get done? Can we be done with the scene already? Tyria also smiled shyly while seeing Rosette's reflection. After that, Tyria and Rosette went out of the corridor and went back to the dormitory. Just then, Tyria felt as if a familiar person was going upstairs. The reason why Tyria felt was because the distance was too far. It was difficult to judge just by vision. Was that Sheriff? The clothes and shape were similar. It was hard to imagine that Tyria was wrong. However, Sheriff particularly came and asked for Tyria's help. He shouldn't be the one who can't come to the palace. What are you doing? Let's go. Okay. Tyria's thought was interrupted and urged to leave by Senpai. Oh, thank God. A chapter. Okay.